Mark Anderson here, mortgage banker with Paramount Bank. I'm licensed to lend in all 50 states, and I would really love the opportunity to earn your business. If you have a purchase scenario, a refinance scenario, please do call or text me at the number below. Anytime, I would be happy to help provide you some high-quality, transparent information about your scenario. Please do reach out anytime. For today's mortgage rate update, it's all good news. We are still at the lowest rates we've ever seen, and the market appears to be relatively stable. Now, I've got the 3-month bond view in terms of bond prices over the last 3 months here, just to give you a picture of where we were at, let's see, back in end of April and where we're at right now. The reason that we're seeing the lowest pricing that we've ever seen is that we are at a bond price over 104, in fact, hovering around 104.5, and we've been in this range now, let's see, over the last month. The lowest price we've seen on the bonds over the last month is maybe just a hair under 104. And since beginning of July, we've been solidly over 104 on this particular bond, and in fact are very close to this 104.5 level. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, the news you want to look out for is anything related to COVID. If there's good news, if there's a vaccine that comes out that proves to be effective, that probably is going to mark the end of the ultra-low interest rate environment, because that would be a shot in the arm for the stock market. It would take money out of bonds. It would probably push these bond prices down a little bit. All that said, we're stable for now. I don't see any changes. I don't see anything on the horizon that's definitely going to move things one way or the other. So we happen to be at a very, very, very favorable time, whether you're looking to lock in on a purchase or a refinance. I wanted to spend the rest of the video to talk about purchase transactions. Purchases have gotten a little bit tough. If you're in the market to buy a home, there's one factor that you have to consider. The amount of homes for sale right now does not even come close to meeting the buyer side demand. We've got some data today that over the last 3 months, we've had 3 months in a row of massive home sales growth. But we have not seen the inventory of homes listed for sale really increase. Certainly it has not increased by the margins that they would need to in order to actually meet the demand. So what does this mean for you? If you're on the beginning of your home buying search, one of the things that you're going to need to be aware of is this supply and demand problem right now. What it means is that maybe it's your first time that you're going out and looking at homes, and maybe you find one that you like. You are competing against people that have been on the search for a while now. And maybe these other folks you're competing against have put offers in on multiple other properties, and they've been beaten out. Because what we're seeing, particularly if it's a property that's turnkey, it doesn't need any renovations, it doesn't need any updates, it's ready to go, maybe it's priced like semi-reasonably, that property is going to attract a huge amount of attention, and in most cases it's going to attract multiple offers. Now this puts you in a tight spot, because some of the folks you're competing against, they've lost house after house after house due to these multiple bids, and maybe they've gotten to the point where they've just said, you know what? We need to get a house. So even if it means I'm going to pay more for the property than maybe it's worth, I'm just going to do it because I'm tired of getting beaten. Those are the folks you're going to be competing against. And what that means is, on a fundamental level, you may end up paying more for a property than maybe you otherwise would. But that market force is really, really overwhelming, and it is something that I have seen is pushing prices up. It's putting people in a position where maybe they have to pay more for the property than they otherwise would in different market conditions. There are a couple things that I would recommend keeping in mind. One, when it comes time to make an offer, you want to make a competitive offer. Your realtor should be not just opening doors for you and showing you properties. They also need to do some digging. They need to call the listing agent, and they need to see in advance, hey, what's the interest level in this property? Do we have other offers that we're competing against? You really want to lean on your realtor to gather intelligence for you before you make that offer. Because if you know in advance that you're going to be in a multiple bid situation, that's really, really important data to have, and it should inform how you structure your offer. You probably should not expect to offer under the list price unless there's a lot of data supporting the fact that it's maybe overpriced. You should go in with a very strong offer. I recommend going in with an offer that's closing relatively quickly without being crazy about it. I recommend, generally speaking, to keep a closing to no less than 30 days out from the contract acceptance. You may find it difficult whether you're working with me or another lender. You may find it's difficult to reach a closing in less than that 30-day period. But go in and submit the shortest time frame that you can on the closing. Submit an offer where you're not asking for closing costs. Obviously, submit a strong purchase price. There's some other interesting things that you can do that are relevant given the factors that we're dealing with right now in this market. One of my agents, who is a very, very bright guy, and this actually just came up on a loan today, there were multiple bids. I think there were 15 or 16 different bids on this property. And in his contract, he actually put some special verbiage that said, if the appraisal falls in short, my buyers in advance are willing to pay up to $10,000 to bridge the gap between the appraised value and the purchase price. So it's kind of telling that seller in advance that, hey, we know that the price may have gotten a little out of hand. The appraised value may not support the price that we've reached, but we in advance are agreeing to stick our neck out to the tune of an additional $10,000 if we need to. That gave the seller some extra assurance that these folks were serious. So talk to your realtor about creative approaches to putting your offer together to give you the best chance of success. Another thing that you can do, most offers are going to be submitted with the good old pre-approval letter. And whether you call it a pre-approval or a pre-qualification, it's really the same thing. It means that a loan officer has talked to the client, has run a credit report, has done basic due diligence to determine whether or not that person is going to be approved. Now, a pre-approval letter doesn't mean the same thing between lenders. Some lenders will issue a pre-approval letter in conditions which, in my opinion, are incredibly inappropriate. Maybe they have not even run the file through an automated underwriting system. Maybe all they've done is pulled a credit report. So those pre-approval letters don't really mean all that much. One thing you can do to differentiate your offer between all the other offers that are going to come attached with pre-approval letters, submit an offer with a commitment letter. One of the things that you can do to upgrade your pre-approval is you can supply all of the supporting documents that we would need to approve your loan. Bank statements, pay stubs, W-2s, etc. Put the whole file together. And then your lender, one of the things that I can do, not everybody can do this, we can process that application as if it were a live contract deal, and we can issue an underwriting approval. When you submit an offer that says, this is not a pre-approval, this is an approved loan, that really is just subject at this point to an appraisal and some final bits and bobs that have to be done based on the particular property. If it's a full underwriting approval, that offer is going to be given much more serious consideration than a competing offer that just has a pre-approval letter. So just something that I would recommend considering. It is a very tough time to buy a house right now. Yes, it's really good that the rates are super low. It's much more affordable to buy a home right now. You know, the same $300,000 house last year would have cost you more money due to the higher interest rates. But it's a very competitive market right now. So it's something you want to be prepared for. Have a really, really good realtor that's willing to do the intelligence gathering that you need to do before you submit the offer, that's willing to consider some creative contract verbiage, and then also do consider upgrading your pre-approval letter into a commitment letter. Hope that information is useful. I will do some more videos next week. Again, please do reach out to me anytime if you have any questions at the number below. Please do like the video, subscribe to my channel for additional content coming soon. Thank you very much for watching.